Hello, guys and girls. No, hello. It is I, Aaronhalo18 here. Guys and girls, today's video will be called All Things New, Reading Plan, Day 2. And the devotional for today is The Wisdom of Fear. I sense an aversion to fear in American Christendom. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Do you feel it? The theology goes like this. Perfect love drives out fear. I, therefore, prove my disobedience to God by my fearing. Because of this, I will avoid the temptation to fear by avoiding risk itself, even God glorifying risk. Among other problems with this thinking is that by avoiding all risk, we miss opportunities to grow and mature in Christ. Make no mistake, growth never comes without risk, and risk rarely comes without fear. Fear is merely one aspect of the journey we make on the road toward faithfulness. Fear not usually has to pass first through I'm afraid before it is fully transformed by faith. And Peter was no stranger to this process. I've come to realize, in fact, that the only kind of fear that disqualifies us from God's helping, that presence is the kind that refuses to ask for it in the first place. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6. That's why I value the phrase used by Isaiah. Do not fear what they fear, nor be in dread. But the Lord of hosts, him you shall honor as holy. Let him be your fear. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 12 through 13. It reminds me that, indeed, there will be fear in this life. It's the uniqueness of what I fear, and what I do with that fear that separates me from the rest of the world. I think Peter's true and greatest fear, more than that of wind and wave, was to miss out on something Jesus may have had in mind for him. Note that this Bible story starts and finishes with a conversation between Jesus and his disciples. The walking on water bit merely provides the cool special effects in the middle. Jesus' powerful and saving presence among his disciples is the real treasure here. Let nothing separate you from that. Peter put himself into a position to have to trust God, unintentionally making his fear a tool to advance. Albert awkwardly his beautifully clumsy conversation with Jesus. May we follow in his footsteps, reading Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 through 23. Our reflections. What fears or hurts are hindering you from conversing honestly with Jesus today? When was the first time you spoke with God about a far-fetched dream you've had? A lot, I guess. Oh. All my hurts and fears, actually. I don't know how to answer these questions, but they give you like little questions here too. And the third question is, what failures or setbacks haunt at you? Let them drive you out onto the water with Jesus in prayer today. With Jesus in prayer today. It says here in verse 22 through 23, immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. Matthew 14. Now we're going to read the whole chapter as well. The death of John the Baptist. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard about the fame of Jesus. And he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead. That is why these miraculous powers are at work in him." For Herod had seized John and bound him and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, because John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." And though he wanted to put him to death, he feared the people, because they held him to be a prophet. And when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before the company and pleased Herod, so that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she might ask. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me the head of John the Baptist here on a platter." And the king was sorry, but because of his oaths and his guests, he commanded it to be given. He sent to have John beheaded in the prison, and his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl. And she brought it to her mother. Then his disciples came and took the body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. Jesus feeds the 5,000. Now when Jesus heard this, he withdrew from there in a boat to a desolate place by himself. When the crowd heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion on them, and healed their sick. Now when it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, This is a desolate place, and the day is now over. Send the crowds away to go into the villages and buy food for themselves. But Jesus said, "They need not go away. You give them something to eat." They said to him, "We have only 5 loaves here, and 2 fish." And he said, "Bring them here to me." Then he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and said a blessing. Then he broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples. And the disciples gave them to the crowds, and they all ate and were satisfied. And they took up 12 baskets full of the broken pieces left over. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Jesus walks on the water. Immediately he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. For the boat by this time was a long way from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the fourth watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, and said, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and took hold of him, saying to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." Jesus heals the sick and start. And when they crossed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent around to all that region and brought to him all who were sick, and implored him that they might only touch the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched it were made well. Now that was Matthew 14. A pretty good book. And yeah, we should trust in the Lord and fear Jesus and God, the Holy Spirit more, than rely on our own fears and for us to not have our own doubts. Yeah, I know I have my doubts and fears of my own as well. And yeah, I really would like to trust in Christ more this year. That's why I'm making these videos and stuff. I just wanted to share what I'm reading here. And I'm making a little series for you guys to watch. It's for about 15 days or so. And yeah, I really should focus on the better relationship and deeper, intimate relationship with Jesus. This whole series is all about Jesus and his healings and so Jesus did a lot of miracles and wonderful things. And even though his disciples followed him, they didn't fully trust him when they were with him after he died on the cross. And then they realized and believed in him. And yeah, and Jesus loved them. And we all know that one of them betrayed him as well. And he preached many parables and many teachings and preachings. Now there's many people that believe, and people still believe in Jesus as these days and stuff. I'm sure there are Christians who are really strong in their faith and really truly care and love others. We should love others because he loved others. And first have compassion and peace, of course. And yeah, and it's pretty good. And yes, Jesus did walk on water. And Peter started walking on water, but then he doubted, feared, started to drown. And Jesus grabbed him up and said that he had no faith. He had very little faith. And that's why he doubted. Yeah. And Jesus preached everywhere and healed everywhere and all. And He even went to a mountain by himself to pray. Even though he is the Son of God, and he is God, and he is the Holy Spirit as well. I just wanted to do another video for you guys, since I got some good comments on this, on the last video. I want some good comments on this one too. And it's okay if you give me dislikes, too, and it's okay if you give me likes on other videos as well. And I won't get upset if you dislike it. And you should also like it too. And I think this is gonna need to do missionary work by preaching this to people on the YouTube and stuff. And this is sharing the good news. Yeah, this is missionary work to me, I guess. And that's it for day 2 of all things new. Reading plan, day 2. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's a pretty good, reading plan, I guess. I hope to continue doing it some more in the future, and for people to be pleased and by my viewing pleasure. And of course, I gotta go now. So, if you really enjoyed what I had to say in the video, and please answer those questions that they give you in the devotional part, as well. And yeah, and I'm gonna continue doing this. I just want to have a great year this year with Jesus, and that's all. And my intro will be coming up. I mean, outro, when I say goodbye and stuff. And now, okay, I hope you, it is, alright, I gotta go now. So, it is I, Aaronhalo18, signing off, guys and girls. Hold on. It's signing off, and see you in the next video. Guys and girls, please rate, like, favorite, subscribe, view, thoughts, and opinions. I hope you enjoyed it and liked it for your viewing pleasure. Guys and girls, stay tuned for more. Guys and girls, like Ghost Rebel says, please drink some hot chocolate, and I'll see you all later. And yeah, and also, God bless you to all who watch this video, and I hope you have a good relationship with Jesus too. I don't know, other people out there will come to know him too. Alright, I gotta go now. So, okay. Bye.